Call judge me if you want, but I do not care. I have never, ever been happier.
Few lines from Euphoria are as iconic or as tragically transparent as that one. It's the desperate mantra of Cassie Howard, a character who has become a lightning rod for the show's most heated debates. In Season 1, she was the sweet, sympathetic girl who just wanted to be loved, a victim of her circumstances and the men who used her. But Season 2 gave us a different Cassie, a girl so consumed by her desire for validation that she betrayed her best friend, lost her sense of self, and spiraled into a pathetic yet captivating villain arc. The transformation was so jarring that many felt it was a complete character assassination. They took a well-rounded, complicated girl and flattened her into a caricature of desperation. But was it an assassination or an evolution? This is a deep dive into the character of Cassie Howard. After all the betrayal, the self-destruction, and the heartbreaking pursuit of love in all the wrong places, we have to ask the ultimate question: is Cassie redeemable? Chapter 1. The Foundation. The girl who just wanted to be loved. To understand Cassie's downfall, we have to go back to why we felt for her in the first place. Season 1 Cassie is a masterclass in tragic sympathy. Her entire being is shaped by a profound and aching need for love, a need born from a childhood defined by abandonment. Her father, an addict, didn't just leave. He first groomed her to crave his affection, making her feel special and chosen, only to disappear and leave a gaping void. This created a devastating pattern. Cassie learned to equate love with fleeting, conditional male attention. She spends her life chasing that initial high of feeling wanted by a man, no matter the cost. This is contrasted perfectly with Lexi. In flashbacks, we see their father behaving erratically, yet Cassie is always the first to jump in the car, eager for the adventure, desperate to please him. Lexi, ever the observer, hangs back, skeptical. This dynamic shows that Cassie isn't just naive, she's been conditioned to ignore red flags in pursuit of affection. Her mother, Suze, while a fan favorite for her comedic relief, provides no stability. She's a functioning alcoholic, drowning her own romantic failures in wine, and offers her daughters a model of womanhood that is chaotic and dependent on men. This desperate need for validation bleeds into every aspect of her teenage life. At school, she's shackled to a reputation she never asked for. She's not promiscuous out of confidence or liberation. She's doing what she thinks she needs to do to be wanted. It's a heartbreaking cycle. Because she's perceived as easy, she makes herself easy, hoping that this time someone will stay. Her relationship with Chris McKay is the perfect case study. She tries to be the perfect girlfriend, supportive, loving, and sexually available. But McKay is ashamed of her past. He wants her in private, but is hesitant in public. His comment of, "Why do you have to make everything so sexual?" is a moment of crushing hypocrisy. She is only giving him what she believes he wants, what every other boy has wanted, and yet she is still punished for it. She is a girl who has been taught her only value is her body, and then she is shamed for offering it. The symbolism in Season 1 is potent. We learn she was a talented ice skater, a skill that was hers alone, something she was praised for that had nothing to do with her looks. But she gave it up. This isn't just a forgotten hobby, it's a metaphor for her entire identity. She abandoned the one thing that was truly hers to pursue the validation of others. Her journey in the first season culminates in one of the show's most devastatingly lonely moments, her abortion. Through it all, McKay is distant, emotionally unavailable, confirming her deepest fear, that she is ultimately alone, and that her sacrifices for love will never be reciprocated. Season 1 ends with Cassie at a turning point. After being publicly humiliated and emotionally abandoned, she makes a quiet resolution to swear off boys and focus on herself. For the first time, it seems like she might finally learn to be her own source of validation. It's a hopeful note that makes her catastrophic spiral in Season 2 all the more tragic. Chapter 2, The Villain Arc, The Nate Jacobs Effect. If Season 1 built Cassie a foundation of sympathy, Season 2 systematically dismantled it, brick by painful brick. The hopeful girl who wanted to focus on herself vanishes the moment the most toxic boy in school gives her a sliver of attention. Their hookup on New Year's Eve isn't just a mistake, it's the catalyst for a complete character implosion. Nate finds her at her most vulnerable, drunk, lonely, and reeling from McKay's rejection, and offers her the one thing she can't resist: validation. This is where the argument of character assassination comes into play, but it's more accurately a character excavation. Season 2 doesn't invent a new Cassie. It simply pours gasoline on the fire that was already smoldering. Her trauma from her father makes her the perfect target for a manipulator like Nate. He isn't just a stand-in for her dad, he's the ultimate prize. He's the boy her powerful, confident best friend couldn't fix or keep. In Cassie's warped logic, winning his love would be the ultimate validation, proof that she is more special, more worthy than anyone else. This obsession leads to one of the most visually telling sequences of the season, Cassie's 4 a.m. morning routine. Waking up before dawn, she meticulously scrubs, plucks, and styles herself into a series of different personas. One day, she's channeling Maddie. The next, she's trying a country-inspired look from Oklahoma. This isn't self-care. It's a frantic, desperate performance. She's not trying to find herself. She's trying to erase herself and become whatever fantasy she thinks Nate desires. She is a chameleon losing her own color, and the sheer mania of the routine is a window into her deteriorating mental state. Her actions quickly move from misguided to malicious. The betrayal of Maddie is unforgivable, not just because she sleeps with her ex, but because she actively lies, gaslights, and manipulates the situation, all while trying to justify it with the flimsy excuse they were broken up. But her moral event horizon is crossed when she weaponizes Rue's addiction. With her own world on the verge of collapsing, she deflects by exposing Rue's relapse to save her own skin. It's a calculated, cruel act that strips away any remaining sympathy the audience might have had for her. This is underscored by her explosive argument with her mother and Lexi, where she screams that her life is just as hard as Rue's. A moment of staggering self-pity that proves her world has shrunk to the suffocating confines of her obsession. She can't see past her own pain, even when faced with a friend's life-or-death struggle. The season culminates in her public humiliation during Lexi's play. It's here that her downfall is complete. She doesn't confront Lexi for the betrayal, she attacks the actress playing her, a symbolic act of attacking the reflection of herself she can no longer stand. Her onstage brawl with Maddie isn't a moment of catharsis or strength. It's the final pathetic implosion of a girl who has burned every bridge for a boy who was never truly hers. By the end, she has lost everything: her best friend, her sister's trust, her dignity, and finally, Nate himself. She is left with nothing but the consequences of her choices, a villain born from the desperate, hollow need to be loved.
Chapter 3, The Verdict, an explanation, not an excuse. So, after the chaos, the tears, and the betrayals, we're left with the central question: is Cassie Howard redeemable? The answer is complicated because Euphoria Season 2 masterfully walks a tightrope between explanation and excuse, and it deliberately lets Cassie fall on the wrong side. Her trauma is real and valid. We've seen the foundation of her pain, the abandonment by her father, the emotional neglect from her mother, and a world that taught her that her body was her only valuable asset. This backstory provides a clear explanation for why she craves male validation so intensely. It's the psychological wound she's been trying to heal with the temporary bandage of affection her entire life. However, the show is careful to never let this explanation become an excuse. The most powerful evidence of this is her own sister, Lexi. Lexi grew up in the exact same dysfunctional household, witnessed the same parental collapse. Yet she processed her trauma differently. She retreated inward, becoming an observer, a writer, channeling her pain into creativity. Lexi's existence is a constant reminder that while trauma shapes you, it doesn't write your destiny. Cassie's choices, ultimately, are her own. This is further highlighted by how the show contrasts her journey with that of its protagonist, Rue. Rue's struggle with addiction is portrayed with a raw, unflinching intimacy. We are inside her head, feeling the desperation of her withdrawal, the guilt she feels towards her family, and the profound self-hatred that fuels her addiction. The show forces us to empathize with Rue even at her absolute worst. With Cassie, however, her mental breakdown is often framed as a spectacle. The 4 a.m. routine, the iconic Oklahoma outfit, her screaming fit at Maddie, these scenes are shot to emphasize their absurdity, inviting the audience to laugh or cringe rather than truly connect with her pain. We're shown the performance of her suffering, but rarely the genuine internal conflict. We see her cry because she got caught, not because she feels remorse. This intentional distance makes her not just an unlikable character, but an unsympathetic one. So what would redemption for Cassie even look like? It certainly isn't getting Nate back. That would be the ultimate tragedy, a validation of her entire self-destructive path. It isn't even necessarily earning Maddie's forgiveness, as some betrayals are too deep to mend. True redemption for Cassie has to be internal. It begins the moment she stops looking for love in the reflection of a boy's eyes and starts looking for it in the mirror. She has to break the cycle of seeking validation from others and finally build a sense of self-worth from within. She needs to find her ice skating again, that part of herself that exists purely for her, untainted by the desire to be desired. She has to finally take responsibility for the hurt she has caused, not as a strategy to win someone back, but as a genuine act of accountability. In the end, Cassie Howard is both a villain and a victim. She is a victim of a childhood that left her broken, and a villain for the choices she made with those broken pieces. She has become the very thing she was trying to avoid, a girl who is utterly alone. And perhaps the most heartbreaking part of her story is that in her desperate, all-consuming quest to be loved, she has made herself someone who is almost impossible to root for. So where does that leave Cassie Howard? She's a character caught in a tragic feedback loop. Her actions in Season 2 are indefensible, yet they stem from a place of deep, understandable pain. The show forces us to grapple with the line between empathy and accountability. She's a cautionary tale about what happens when a person's entire sense of self is built on the fragile foundation of what other people think of them. But what do you think? After everything she's done, is there a path back for Cassie? Is she redeemable, or has she become the villain of her own story? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. If you enjoyed this analysis, be sure to give this video a like and subscribe for more deep dives into your favorite characters. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.